Yes, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Vladimir was accused of being a Russian spy because the harness he was wearing had GoPro mounts. And the Russian military does have a beluga whale program in their military where they perhaps use them to photograph things that they want to get secret intelligence, such as sea floor bottoms, wires, cables, etc., which could be considered spying.
What has happened to Volodymyr since he was discovered?
Well, we all kind of thought he would have the harness off and swim off and have a wonderful life as a wild whale, but unfortunately that didn't happen. He was conditioned towards humans. So he's been hanging out in Norway, a sort of lost, displaced, out of habitat animal. They're very social animals. They don't like to live alone. So he's been clinging to areas, busy harbors, and a lot of salmon farms in order to get his socialization. And now he's showing signs that he's become a mating aged male whale. He's a young whale, and he seems to be seeking a mate, which is why we started to work with the government on a solution for him to take him out of the heavy touristy waters and dangerous waters and to somewhere else better for him.
Tell us, is his life currently in danger?
Actually, it has been very high risk for the past 5 years. We have documented, we started a nonprofit for him actually because of that reason called One Whale. And we have watched him get hit by propellers, his body sliced open by sharp objects, injuries from tourists putting sharp things in his mouth where he has had terrible infections. He has almost starved to death by swimming into the wrong waters, such as Oslo and Gothenburg, Sweden, where there are no fish. So he's struggling, and it's sad to watch, actually.
Do we know exactly why he has travelled where he has? What are some of the theories about his journeys?
Well, we've investigated it pretty deeply ourselves, and it's quite clear that Valdemir was most likely brought to Norway and got away during some work that he was probably doing. Good for him. We're excited for him, but he didn't really choose this location or this lifestyle. And over the past 5 years, we've also documented that he's gotten much more wild and less dependent on humans as much as he can possibly be without a choice. So now all of the experts agree that he is a good candidate for reintegration into the wild, which is exciting.
What is the ultimate goal for Valdemir? Ideally, where should he spend the rest of his years? And how long do you think he could survive?
That's a great question. So this has been analyzed really deeply, and he actually has a worldwide following, and he has a lot of followers in Australia as well. And everybody wants to see him live the rest of his life with other whales. He's going to live probably another 50 years if he's in the right environment.
Wow.
So we began working on an application to relocate him to the Arctic part of Norway where there are wild beluga whales. And we're so grateful that just about 1 month ago, the government of Norway issued us permits to relocate him. The good news is that's a huge step for Norway that has never done anything like this before and usually has other much worse solutions for out of habitat animals. The bad news is they aren't going to pay for it. So it's up to our little nonprofit to fundraise for him. And we've started a nonprofit. We started a GoFundMe for his relocation. So when we have the funds, we will hopefully move him and we'll get to watch him thrive.
Well, he looks like he's got lots of fans. He's such a beautiful creature as well. Tell us some of the stories and why locals really love him.
There's his viral videos. I mean, he does his own good PR for how wonderful and cute he is. He's been seen gently playing with seagulls. He returns things to people off the floor. I've spent a lot of time with him, and he's very kind. He makes eye contact with people. He's partial to small children. He is friends with dogs. So there's been so many moments where people just can't help but love him and care about him, and he really deserves a chance. I personally would love to have him in my life forever, but to truly do what's right for him, it would be best for him to go with other whales and never see him again.
Just looking at the footage there, he loves human contact, it seems. But do you think he will be able to be reintegrated? How long would that take, do you think?
This has been strongly considered because of the fact that he has been so conditioned towards humans. But we have to remember he was born in the wild. We have confirmation of that. He also was with other beluga whales while he was in captivity. So only during the time in Norway has he been totally alone from other whales. So those lead us to believe that he would want to go with other whales. He also spent some time with other species hanging out with them here in Norway, showing that he would like to be with whales. And last but not least, beluga whales, unlike orcas, are actually among the most social whales. They mix and mingle and have parties together. And they've even adopted other types of whales into their own populations. So it's a good recipe for it. It may not happen in a week. It may not happen in a month or a year, but he's going to live another 50 years. So hopefully in that time, he'll find his way.
Apart from his characteristics, how unique is Valdemir? Are there other animals out there who would be in the similar situation in terms of his history, his previous so-called job?
Well, it's a really rare case. Valdemir is living proof that animals in captivity can be released into the wild and potentially survive. There's never been quite a case like him. So I think he's a really good case study for people. Right now, there's a lot of laws changing around the world about releasing animals into sanctuaries and then eventually, hopefully, reintroducing them to the wild if it's possible. So I think Valdemir is a wonderful case study, and he really might show us all what the possibilities are if he reintegrates with a pod. If he doesn't reintegrate, he's already living his life as a lone whale, so he would just continue to do that, but in much safer, smaller communities.
Well, he's definitely got one more supporter here, and hopefully with our viewers, many more as well. We wish him all the best, and thank you, Regina, for talking to us about him.
My pleasure. Thank you.